Japan's hostage problem. Oh, it's a 30-minute video though. This one's really loud
The former head of Nissan and Renault says he has fled to Lebanon to escape
what has been described as hostage justice system in Japan.
Most Japanese people don't understand the concept of hostage justice. The police and prosecutors are abusing this. Makes sense. When a prosecutor prosecutes more than 90% of the time, the verdict is guilty.
It will get worse for you if you don't just confess.
Did you see that Seattle won over Pumas in the CONCACAF Champions League? MLS finally wins. Yes, I saw it first in Discord. Hold up, let me show you which Discord. This one. Sports. Where is it? Right here. Any Sounders fans? The Seattle Sounders have done it. The first MLS team to ever win the CONCACAF Champions League. That's how I heard about it. I didn't actually watch it. I was expecting the Mexican team to win, but I'm glad MLS finally won.
我が国の刑事司法制度は個人の基本的人権を尊重し、
人質司法という呼称が極めて不正確あるいは侮辱的。
自分が捕まった瞬間いつ終わるともわからない時間に巻き込まれていく。これを人質司法と思わないっていうのが不思議でしょうね。
What did that say? Carlos Ghosn's dramatic escape brought international attention to potential human rights abuses in the Japanese criminal justice system. Have you heard of hostage justice? No, never heard of it. Have you heard of hostage justice? No, never. Have you heard of hostage justice? No, I don't know. Oh, you have another?
ありますか？ないです。わかんないです。はい。もし誰かが何かの事件とか事故で、人質司法って聞いたことありますか？ないです。わかんないです。
Okay.
夏井聡と言います。基本的にはずっと音楽。
Was that interesting also because it wasn't a happy ending? I didn't find it more interesting because it wasn't a happy ending. If anything, I would have preferred it to be a happy ending. Okay. If anything, I would have preferred it to be a happy ending. I don't want I don't want sad endings.
5年前ぐらいから、ラジオの番組制作とか、自分の番組出演なんかをやっていたんですけど、塀の中の白い花という番組が
15 years ago, I started making radio for a show. My show, A White Flower Behind Bars, has been on the air for 3 years.
もう今、3年を超えました。はい。
A White Flower Behind Bars, I really didn't do anything. Imagine being accused of a crime even though you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything but end up behind bars for months, years, or even decades. Your life, dreams, and freedom are taken from you. In this program, we discuss cases of wrongful conviction and get your opinion on the issue. This time we will talk about hostage justice, which Carlos Ghosn made famous. If it is the cradle of wrongful conviction, you can get out until you admit to the crime. You can't see your family, friends, or lawyer. This is reflected in the astonishing figure rate of 99.9% conviction rate. I would like to talk to the people who have actually suffered from this system. Hitoju Shiju, or hostage justice, is the system used by police prosecutors to obtain confessions. That's just state-sponsored oppression. Under these conditions, false confessions are common, leading to wrongful conviction for the falsely accused, including life imprisonment and death.
何かの拍子にも
Ordinary people get
普通の
swept
人
up
が
in an incident for some
ポ
reason
ンと
and are
事件に
made to
巻
be
き
the
込まれてしま
criminal.
って、犯人にさせられてしまってるっていう、これ誰
It can
に
happen to
にも
anyone.
起こることだなっていうことをすごくわかりやすく
I wanted to step in because there
お伝え
weren't
する
any
っていう
programs or on TV or
番組
radio
が
that
まあ
reported
テレ
these
ビでもラ
cases.
ジオでもなかったので。今回お話をお聞きする
Today
の
we
は
will speak with Shoji Sakurai.
久しぶりですね。
So this guy is probably a victim of wrongful conviction.
桜井さんにインタビューしたことってほとんどないですよ。まずはですね、視聴者の方に自己紹介をお願いしたいと思うんですけれども。
はい、皆さんこんにちは。私深川事件と呼ばれます冤罪事件を体験しました。29年ほど刑務所に入りまして、その後仮釈放で社会に出てまいりまして、2011年に再審で無罪になった、そういう事件でございます。これ深川は私のふるさとですから。
I'm trying to use my laptop, but it's hard to scroll. I learned from a news broadcast at my sister's house that a person was killed in Fukawa. It is said that it was discovered on August 30th. Oh, actually, it's today. I was informed about the incident the evening 53 years ago today. Oh, what a coincidence. You said that you were arrested more than a month after the incident? What was the situation like at the time? I was arrested for stealing my friend's pants. It's a so-called criminal charge of convenience. Regarding the interrogation, in what kind of place? An environment were you interrogated? In my case, it seems that the police had already expected that I was the culprit. I was interrogated one-on-one in the jailer's sleeping room. It was not an interrogation room. After arrest, 98.3% of suspects are detained at unofficial prisons so the police can integrate them without filing charges. I was interrogated from 9 a.m. till midnight. 4, 5, 6 months. I was held at Torai Police Station for about half a year. It was a detention center. In my case, of course, I wasn't the culprit, so I had an alibi. The night of the incident was more than 40 days before I was arrested. Huh. That's why I was confused in my memory and doubted my own alibi. What did he say? When I said that the police said they investigated and told me it was a lie, that's why I was confused in my memory and doubted my own alibi. That was the beginning of my false confession. Attorney and former prosecutor. Hold up, my laptop is making sounds again.
郷原信夫と言います。23年間、検察に、所属をして、ゴーン氏に合わせて10時間以上のインタビューを行いました。
Now, it was the arrest that shocked the financial world. Automotive titan Carlos Ghosn was put on trial in Japan for alleged financial misconduct and misuse of corporate resources, allegations that he denies. And now there's a new twist. The former head of Nissan and Renault says he has fled to Lebanon to escape, quote, injustice and political persecution.
ホステージ・ジャスティスという言葉で、ゴーン氏もよく口にしてました。やはり日本の刑事司法の最大の問題点という認識を持ってたと思います。
I spent in prison 130 days. From the 130 days, I was practically interrogated half of the time, and it's up to 8 hours of interrogation.
With no lawyer?
No lawyer.
The reason for this is that Mr. Ghosn was fighting for his innocence. For such people, the prosecution detained them while they are defending their innocence. So that's the way prosecutors use hostage justice to secure a confession. That is how prosecutors work in Japan, and how the court has accepted it. In the United States, people can be detained for 3 days without charge. In Japan, it's 23 days without charge. With a rearrest, it can extend for several months. Damn, these people have really sad lives when you get a wrongful conviction, like years in prison for something you didn't do, and then you can't fight back because the law says something along the lines of they're not held responsible for wrongful convictions. Okay, then let me ask you about the Hakamada incident. In 1966, the owner of a miso factory and his family were murdered. Iwai Hakamada, an employee at the time, became the prime suspect and was convicted in 1968. He was sentenced to death. I give Iwao two things that didn't have in prison, such as fruits, raw vegetables, and so on. He likes fruits, so I give him a platter of fruits every morning. Convinced of his innocence, his sister Hideko never gave up petitioning the authorities for a retrial. The district court agreed to rehear his case in March 2014. Iwai was finally released on parole after 48 years on death row, 30 of which he spent in solitary confinement. That is so sad. He started talking nonsense about this or that god. You can't understand it. I went to see him, but he didn't make sense. He just went back to his cell. It was insane when the incident happened. Everyday TV, radio, and newspapers reported that Iwao was a murderer, a robber, and a murderer, and a murderer. That he'd definitely be the culprit. So I decided I wouldn't watch TV, radio, newspaper at all for about a year. There was no strong evidence that Mr. Hakamada was the culprit. The police seized Mr. Hakamada's pajamas and made the newspaper report as if they found blood-stained pajamas. Murder, arson in Shimizu.
しかしそのパジャマには血液がついてないということが明らかになったんですね。そこで引っ込みが
The police couldn't backtrack and started the investigation based on Mr. Hakamada's confession. Looking at the police records, he was interrogated on an average of 12 hours a day. They were trying to make him confess in any way possible. They even increased the number of police officers involved in the interrogation. It's collusion between prosecutors and media. This situation cannot be improved because the relationship between such power agencies and the media continues to exist. When prosecutors prosecute, more than 99% are found guilty. If you can see the result, you should report it as soon as possible. The media presume that guilt and make more and more so-called guilty reports and criminal reports. I asked him what kind of examination did you receive? Then he said that there was a sharp object in a round chair and he was made to sit there. Other than that, I couldn't stand listening to him anymore. 30 years in solitary confinement makes for such a sad life. Oh my goodness, it's making me think of my mental hospital stays. So wrong. I was told if you don't admit, you may be sentenced to death. The evidence of your guilt already exists in the interrogation records. I'm fine as it is, but I want to help you. After you are sentenced to death, there's nothing I can do. It will be too late to say, please forgive me, so take it seriously, they said. When people believe you, you can finally speak the truth. You were the culprit, admit it. It's difficult to endure a situation where emotions collide from morning till night and the public doesn't know about this. In that kind of environment, not knowing when it will end, that is hostage justice. In short, from the moment you get arrested, you are struck in a never-ending, vicious cycle. It's too insane not to think of this situation as hostage justice. Was there a lawyer present at that time? There's no lawyer present. The lawyer came a week before the trial. What, a week before the trial? That's a long way off from having lawyers present. The detention period is long, and the presence of a lawyer is not allowed during the interrogation. I think this seems to be a peculiar thing when compared with international standards. Securing the confession has become one of the purposes of criminal justice. During Hakamada's 23-day interrogation, the lawyer came 3 times. In fact, it was 20 minutes in total. Interrogations were conducted as long as 16 hours a day. He was forced to urinate on the spot during the interrogation, and the sound of peeing is on the tape, so clear that I was really surprised. The police said you should do it here, and made him do it there. I think the truth is that Mr. Hakamada couldn't resist his body without confessing. I didn't know such a terrible thing was even possible. You wouldn't expect people to actually do such a terrible thing. If they reported on TV, you'd think that he would really confess. You would think he really confessed. I had no idea they tortured him. I can't really explain it in a single word, but I think everyone wonders, what if this happened in my life? What if it happened to my son or daughter? Look at all these photos I have. Look at how I look. This is a year before I was arrested. Dapper looking. Every day they tell you you are the culprit. He said you were talking to the victim at the back door and there is a witness. It lasts from morning till night. On the afternoon of the 5th day, they used a lie detector on me. When he says Sakurai, the machine says that you've been telling us is a lie. You can't escape anymore, so admit it. Today you will be speaking on your free will, yes. Do you understand? I understand. Name Shoji Sakurai. When you confess, words that you don't remember come out of your mouth. How does that make you feel? No, it doesn't come out of my mouth easily. Why would it come out? I did it, that's it. They would ask me how. So I say I went to the site. So you just speak step by step. So they just had it prepared. Yes, it's coercion. People in the world think a confession is a confession, but rather than confessions, the police choose each word to create stories. Statement record. That's right. I obviously didn't know the scene of the incident. However, police officers have a sketch of the scene of the incident, so they ask a question while holding the sketch. They ask various things. What kind of clothes were the victim wearing when he came out? You don't know it, but it's August 28th, and if you were asked if he had long sleeves or short sleeves, you said short sleeves, and you write short sleeves. If I give the answer that they are satisfied with, they just write it down. If it is not a confession, it is not a confession. Japan's conviction rate is 99.9%. Once wrongly accused, you will be convicted. I was convicted and got a life sentence. That was the moment I realized that the world is filled with delusion and a myth that police and the prosecutors are correct. And the nation is established with the support of those people who believe in the myth. My ear gradually became my heart. I could hear my heart pounding. Love, dub, love, dub. I couldn't hear the judge anymore, and there's nothing in my life I can compare to that moment. I don't remember what I said. I was just found guilty. It is not so easy to eliminate hostage justice itself. After all, the mechanism is not correctly understood by the public.
Japanese criminal justice system that are cruel and not in keeping with
Gosen goes on the offensive in first appearance since Escape.
International standards.
What has been described as hostage justice system in Japan.
I think this critique is a discrimination against Asia. No, it's not. Discrimination against Asia from the West. They despise Asia. Oh, it's just an Asian country anyway. I don't think there can be such a modern criminal justice in Asia like ours. That's just what they are thinking. It's extremely unpleasant, to be honest with you. Detention is not for interrogation. This is done to prevent the escape of criminals and suspects and the destruction of evidence. I don't think Japan's 20 days of detention is long. I think it's way too short and almost problematic as a prosecutor. You have to collect all the evidence in those 20 days. We don't only try to find out whether he was the culprit, we try to find out why he did it, why he had to do it. That's not right. What was going on in his head when he did it, and if he feels remorse. The Japanese people want us to clarify those things by interrogating them. I became a prosecutor in 1993. I worked in Yokohama, Osaka, and Saga for 12 years and 9 months. I didn't expect things to play out like this. I was quite shocked that this was the way to do it. The prosecutor trainer at the training center said, "The confession is the last proof you should seek." However, when I became a real prosecutor, it was completely different. Confess, 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 I was told. To put it exaggeratedly, even if you take a confession in a slightly rough way, it's okay. As long as you secure the confession, everything is fine. Injustice, man, it's terrible. It's scary as well. The biggest problem is that interrogation is so fierce that it leads to false confessions. Makes
虚偽
sense.
薬を作っちゃうっていうのがやっぱり一番
Investigation agencies are creating false confessions.
無実の人っていうのは自分が捕まるとは全く思ってない状況
An innocent person can get caught suddenly in a situation which he never imagined. All of a sudden, he gets completely cut off from daily life and thrown into another
突然
world.
別世界にポンと放り込まれるっていうでその上で
On top of that, you will be asked repeatedly about what you have done.
起こります
As a matter of fact, false confessions come out easier
日常生
than
活
you
を
would
思う以上
imagine.
に簡単に虚偽薬が出てしまうコミュニケーション的な拷問の
I
構造
think
に
it
なって
is important to let people know that it is a form of torture.
なるべく広く知ってもらうっていうのがすごく大事だと思いますけどね。
Confession has a very big weight in trial. Of course, there has to be a crime, and there's no such thing as not having. And there's no such thing as not having corpse. But as to whether the accused is the culprit or not, in the interpretation of Japanese law, there is no requirement for corroborating evidence. So it is not illegal to identify the criminal solely with his What? It is not illegal to identify the criminal solely with his confession? Confession under coercion, torture, threats, and unduly prolonged detention, or when there is doubt about said confession being voluntarily, may not be admitted as evidence. Terrifying. Sure, if you truly receive a false confession and prosecute it, it will be a false charge. Exactly. So what do you want me to say? The expectation is to have systems in place for that not to happen. So like a way to retrial. And he didn't care about that, which is part of the problem. This is the fight on Long-Nosed Goblin. How can the world be run by virtue while evilness perishes? Are you going out? You need socks? Socks? The facts that Iwa came out and received attention proves that this actually happens in the world.
一つのこういうことも、世界ではこういうこともあるんだよっていうことの証明ね。だけど私は
But I am very happy Iwa came out of prison alive.
生きて出てきたと。
I think it's Iwao, not Iwai. Iwao. Iwao. Man, he's an old man now, though. I knew I would win. There's no way the police and prosecutors should be held accountable for their lives. After years of campaigning for justice, a 2019 court case revealed that Sakurai was coerced into making a confession. On August 27, 2021, this finding was held by the Tokyo Supreme Court. What did you lose in your life? Time. Different kinds of time. If I had a life without wrongful conviction, I might have become an ordinary father. Fortunately, I'm a good singer, so I probably would have become popular during the karaoke boom. But most importantly, my parents.
ね、もう
You don't know when you'll die after 70.
いつ死ぬか分かんないじゃないですか。その時やっぱりなんだろうな、親が
After all, when I think about how my parents died, I wanted a little more time to be a good son.
親孝行の時間が
After all, oh, I already read that. This is the most painful thing that has been taken away.
奪われた痛みとしては辛いですよね。もう本当にもう少し
I wanted to take good care of my parents.
親孝行だけはしたかったなっていう、本当にこれだけは
This is real pain. I can
痛
get
み
it
です
back.
ね。もう絶対取り返せないんでね。私のラジオ
On the radio program, I always play the song I wrote and composed in prison.
作曲した歌を聴いていただくんですけど、私が千葉県
Please listen to Mother, the first song I wrote in Chiba prison. Mother, the day you promised to return.
残していった言葉は昨日のことのように覚えているよ。僕が
So many things have happened since I was handcuffed.
いろんなことがあったのに悲しい
You waited for the day the sorrow would wash away.
待ったろうに
In 2018, the High Court rejected Hakamada's appeal for a retrial. His appeal is now before the Supreme Court. If it fails to hear the case, Hakamada could be sent back to death row.
開けてびっくりね。
When I heard the news, I was too shocked. The retrial appeal was rejected. I saw the brutal reality of the trial, knowing obviously that it's a wrongful conviction case for some reason.
分かっていながら何かの都合でね、袴田事件
They
だ
thought
と
not to reopen the court case for the Hakamada case.
思っての判断かなと思った。なんか制度とい
If
う
we
ものを
don't
変え
change
な
the
い
court
こ
system,
と
we
には
can't compete.
とても私たちには太刀打ちできる。ね。私たちがわーっ
Even
と
if
わー
we
っと
say out
騒い
loud
でた
that
っ
we are
て
innocent, it is just
無罪
impossible.
だって言っていても制度を変えてくれない限りは無理。
やっぱり
I think many people are starting to realize that this is strange to have these practices.
これは世界標準の司法制度から比べても
When compared with international judicial standards,
やっぱり多くの人が思ってると思うんですよね。国民というか一般
allowing this to go on forever is making us the laughing stock of the world.
世界中の笑い物ですよっていうことで声を上げて
I think that people or the general public have no choice but to raise their voices. Imagine being accused of crime even though you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything but end up staying behind bars for months, years, or even decades. Your life dreams and freedom are taken from you. Wrongful conviction are common. Honestly, that sounds like how my mental hospital stays have been. That manner. This is the program to discuss the wrongful convicted cases and think about it together. Natsushi's program, A White Flower Behind Bars, is broadcast bi-weekly on FM Tachikawa. In December 2020, Iwu Hakamada's appeal to the Supreme Court succeeded and was sent back to the High Court, where he was awaiting retrial. Holy shit, we watched all of that? That was so long. 30 minutes. Alright. That was good. I want to share it. Discord.